Hello, beautiful souls. I uh, I got the title today, and I just love the title. It's the field where stillness speaks and silence listens. I mean, that in itself, that's like a huge transmission in a way where you go like, oh yeah, yeah. And it made me very happy because the field is something I feel more and more connected with, and I speak a lot about it. And it's kind of becoming, I don't know to say my thing because it's everybody's thing. But at some point, you will just feel you're clicking into it, or you're just so enamored with what is beyond the five physical senses that they don't have that pull on you anymore. They don't grab you like they used to because there is something much, much more interesting and much, much more fulfilling and peaceful and connected and in resonance with your heart. So, we can't just jump into the field when we are still too hooked into the matrix. That's why the work we all need to do, in whatever way that is to do our best to, unhook, unhook, unhook. Don't go in there and try and fix it and make it better unless you want to go through a phase where your experience in the matrix is going to be much better. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. I think it's a natural phase that a lot of us have to go through. If you've lived so much in the darkness, maybe with lack or bad relationships or bad health, there is a natural pull to have abundance and feel healthy and be in a loving, nurturing relationship. So if that is you, then let yourself go with that. We all have this movement inside that will take us through all the roads, all the ups and downs and ins and out, in order to get us to where going home and where we feel maybe complete with the matrix. So if there's still a deep longing to, really experience abundance in a way that you have created it, or you co-created it, that if you don't have that, there will still be a longing, a pull into the matrix until that has also been fulfilled and completed, until you go like, oh, that was nice, but that wasn't it either. But unless we go there and get that experience, we will be drawn back if that is something that's important. So again, you can't just jump in without doing the unhooking or the completing of something. For me, I feel, as as far as I know, I feel pretty complete with the matrix, and my pull is definitely into the field more and more, into the oneness, the peace, the love, where all this out here in one way has very little interest, and then in another way, I can just really enjoy what is there, nature, the things I enjoy. I've shared, I do aerial dancing, the fabric or the rope. I just love doing that. I love growing my own food. So there is an enjoyment of life, but that's not what is driving me. That's kind of the the side effects. We're just Pernilla enjoying this experience. And, if it goes away, then, I might be a little sad. I'm not perfect, but it's okay because as long as I stay connected to the field. And so the title, uh, stillness, the field where stillness speaks and silence listens. So you can see it's not like you will necessarily hear something with your ears. Some people do. It's called the still small voice that you may have heard before. So I know Joel Goldsmith, that I talk a lot about. He heard that still small voice. And the still small voice was saying things that were true in the field, about itself. And that's what came through by tuning in. But then other times he didn't hear anything. There was just a sense of, like, we say the spirit descended upon him, or the Holy Spirit. I'm not religious, so I don't know exactly the terms, but there was like a descending where it just kind of was there and it was obvious. And that's what happened to me when I had my Big Bang awakening. When was that? In the late 80s, it just descended upon me, and it just opened me up in a way I didn't even know was possible. And it lasted for 2 or 3 months, living in this state of love and bliss. And then it went away. And that's when I started my journey to let go and, first find out where I was still hooked, and then doing the work to unhook. So if you want to connect with the field, there needs to be a space where there is stillness. And as you know, there is no stillness in the mind. That is where the opposite of stillness, or the opposite of the field, lives. So we can't go there in our mind. There is a need to drop the mind if we can. If that's still an issue, and it might be for many of us, because when we have all these old structures, most of them are not ours. It's an energetic thing that just keeps the nervous system buzzing and moving and contracting, which I talked about recently. And it can be very hard to drop in, because this nervous system thing needs our attention. It wants peace, but it doesn't know how to get there because it's so agitated, right? So that can be very challenging. And that's why I think doing the deeper work that we all do is finding ways maybe to offer this nervous system this peace, offer it something that can help it let go. Because the story is that we let it all go, and then we are in the stillness and we can hear it speaking. And we are in the silence so we can hear it. And that of course is so beautiful. It's not a place I live all the time at all, actually. But I do live connected with the field. I don't feel separate from the field. It's just here because I want to connect with it, and I've done it so much that it becomes natural. And then all the things that want to pull me away from the field, they will show up. And then I can meet them in the way that I have shared a lot about in my videos. There might be some good tips. There was like several I did on the core wound. You can find the link here. You can go through those. Those I think were pretty clear in how to actually be present with the core wounds that keep pulling us back. And we all have them. And we all carry, this big bag that I talked about the other day also. That is not ours. And it's not for us to deal with that. I think I shared it yesterday or the day before, that for me, that there was a deep, deep structure that was not mine. It was some ancestral thing that I didn't know about, but it had me clench, it kind of had me. And I done a lot of work, and for some reason, suddenly it was seen. And then there is the process of seeing it over and over and just allowing it allowing it, not engaging, not trying to fix it. There's nothing to fix. There is only to notice it, observe it, be present with it, feel the impact without any storyline, any identification, and just breathing. And for me right now, it's helping to remind myself that this is not mine and I can let it go. There will be certain um, little sentences in the Hakomi work. As a Hakomi practitioner, we use little sentences. We call them probes. It's like a little pebble you can throw into the water with a ripple effect, and that will touch certain things inside so they can be met or seen or felt. And so one of them could be like I was sharing here, this is not mine. It was never mine. And then if you feel a deep sigh of relief, then you can let it go more. It's like, oh, it's not mine. And an hour, day later, it might grip you again because it's so familiar, right? It's the default. And then we can just do it again. Then there might be there's many little probes that we use in the Hakomi work as a therapist. And when I sit with a client, I have a good sense of what's going on, and then a little probe drops into my mind, and then I can offer that, and then we can see what happens, and then we move further from there. And usually there is something that's touched inside, so that eventually that can be seen very clearly that it was a belief or something, that a contraction, and now there's more permission to let it go. And the more we let go, the more we can drop into the field where stillness speaks and silence listens. I think it's so beautiful. It really is touching me when I say it. So, going into the field, we need to really be still and kind of attuned so we can hear the frequency, the energy, the stillness in whatever way it speaks to us. That's where intuition comes in. Like when we learn to trust our intuition, when we learn to trust that something comes to us, there's like suddenly there might be a knowing or a deep breath or a warmth in the heart or an idea or YouTube title. Something will show up in whatever way it shows up for you and me differently. Learning to trust our own inner language of stillness. And it is very obvious because it feels good. There will be something that resonates where you go, oh yeah, I didn't really know it, although I knew it, but now I really know it because it's here. And that's how stillness speaks to us. So, us hearing it from silence is that we just receive it, and we're not going to try and interpret it or reject it or whatever we do. We just say, oh, okay, I'm silent, I'm listening. So it's the field, of course. It's all the field. It's the divine field. It is heaven on earth or the kingdom of heaven that the Gospel of Thomas talks about, right? Something like the heaven is spread all over the earth and man cannot see it. Cannot see it. We can feel it as a deep sense of relief or expansion or something that feels good. And when that happens, we don't need to do anything really. I think there's such a shift happening in the world in the most profound way, where stillness is becoming much more available to us. And the more we can allow that to come through the layers that have been covering that, they will start to melt. And that will give us an opportunity to rest back and merge with the field, because the layers that have been between us and the field are melting and softening and dissolving. And then there will be a natural merging, just like, a drop of water, a drop into the ocean. It just goes, whoop. If it's a frozen drop, protection, we drop it in. It's going to take a little time for that frozenness to soften and get to the same temperature as the ocean. So it's the same for us. If there's frozenness, it's going to take a little time for us to melt into the same frequency as the feel of oneness. Why don't we just take a moment right now and just do your best to tune into the field, knowing that it is everywhere, inside and out, and kind of open your field, any part of your own field that has been closed, so you can, with a curiosity, it's like putting out your little antennas. Okay, so you are here. I can't see you, but when I get still enough, then I want to just notice what I experience, how you, the field, speaks to me outside of my senses, but in my inner being, my soul sense. There will be something that is recognized. And whatever it is for you, try just to listen to that from silence, not from interpreting, not from say, oh, nothing is happening, then you go here. You just stay in silence and let whatever come. Whatever comes, come. Just let it come to you. And you just sit here receiving it. And if nothing obvious comes, don't worry about it. You might just be practicing now to hear the stillness or receive the stillness from silence. You see, there's not much that needs to be done here. Have a beautiful day, my friends.